Hey everybody, it's Scott and Rita. Something new. This is our session 57. I don't know. It'll be on YouTube. So visit us cosmicfixer.com and also whatitmeanstoserve.com for Rita's new book. And so Rita's here. Say hi, Rita.
Hi, I'm here.
So we haven't really rehearsed anything, and so but we wanted to make a recording on some questions or overview of what it means to serve, the ebook that's out right now. So I'll ask a few questions to you, Rita, and then if you want to ask me some questions, you can do that too. So
Okay, good.
does that feel good?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So let's get that out of the way. Like, it's a channeled book.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this out of the way. Let's get this, like, the whole cat out of the bag first.
Okay, here it is.
Yeah, so tell us what that was like for you, that process for you. What was it like doing that? And do you have any fears? Do you have any concerns? Or let's just talk about that.
Okay, yeah, it's not something that I ever saw myself doing, that I ever really wanted to. I mean, maybe that's not entirely true. I've always been curious and wanting to understand how things are. Well, always, if there's somebody who knows, please tell me. That's how my feelings always been. And that might be why these spirits decided to come to me um, to do that for me, because I just have that very strong feeling. But I never felt like it was going to go into book form, and almost felt very shy about telling anyone that, okay, now I'm getting information from outside of me, and I would put it in journals for myself. But it was actually being made aware of Paul Selig's channeling books that made me understand that, oh, this is where it can go, because I'm very argumentative with them. It's like, what? I can't, no, I can't, I'm not gonna, I don't want to be the one putting this out there. Why are you asking me to do this? And it made it, once I just got a little taste of his book, one of his books, I understood, okay. And then they were also urging me, just go sit down. We'll take care of it. Just get to your keyboard. We'll take care of it. So that was like, all right, here we go.
Were there any parts of it that you felt really surprised or shocked about? Any specific parts of the book that you were like, wow, where did that come from, that you know of right now?
Yes, definitely. And a lot of times I would have to stop and feel whatever I needed to feel, cry, go sleep for a long time, to let it just settle in and be something I could understand, that I could know, not understand in a cerebral way. Specifically, the bit about the secret, it's like something I knew. Yeah, I had a feeling of that. I forget what the quote. I should say, this doesn't I don't retain the information very well. Like, I can't start quoting from the book because I didn't write it. And so I understand it and almost feel like I've absorbed it, but I would almost need them to explain it if somebody had a question about the book. So that part, I guess I'm answering your question. That part is interesting to me.
One of the things that we talked about earlier, and one of the things that I experienced earlier on, just because you sent me these chapters early on, and I got to read it first. And as we were putting it together, I would read it again and again. And actually, we both kind of experienced this where it was almost as if the book would change.
Yeah.
The chapters would change, the messages would change a little bit. Every time we would read it, it was as if it was kind of like this interesting Schrodinger's box that we don't know what's inside the box when we read it again. So even for me, that was a really interesting thing. It was like, I don't remember reading this the first time I read it. Then something else would come out. Or every time I read it now, it's something new seems to come out for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing that surprised me is that experience, as well as, oh wow, this is really right. This is great. It's, even though I've read the chapter 3 times already, it's like, of course, there's just it lands in a very solid way, but differently each time.
Yeah, it's almost as if, it's like if they're almost like channeling consistently, like teaching new lessons for the reader every time they read. And so that's one thing I really like about the book.
That's fabulous what you just said. Right, that they're working with each reader every time they look at the words. That's awesome. And I think it's true.
Yeah, and it's just, and I still look at this like almost daily, just as well. Plus, since I like promote it and I put things on social media, and so I'm looking for little clues to like kind of spark conversation. But yeah, it's so I guess those things are working for me in a different way. And so when we pick things up from other people, it'll be interesting to see what other people say to us, if they want to continue the conversation, what things jump out at them right away and what things jump out at them later on as they finish the book. I know some people have like gone through it once and they want to read it again. Some of the folks we sent it to earlier on.
And I'm just still back on that. It's like, how fabulous to know that you have assistance just because you chose to read a book, and now you have assistance. Every time you open that book, it's right there for you. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, it just takes the whole pressure off you. It takes the pressure off me to like feel like I have to achieve something with the book, which is really good because, well, as we know, most of the time, I think there was a statistic once that only 10% of people will read through a whole book in its entirety. Most will like pick up a book, read a few things, put it on a shelf, and maybe they'll pick it up later. Sometimes that happens, I think we're finding with this book too. But I like it that it feels like there's no pressure, so you can actually come back and almost you can just like flip it open and just you can come back and say, oh, okay, that hits something in me, and so let's go back into this other parts of the chapter or the chapters earlier. And
I do that a lot. Just flip it open.
Yeah, and plus you have the circles. You've got the images of the circles in there too. So it's the whole system, and I even talk about in social media how like that the front cover almost didn't see the light of day.
That's all me. That was just me. Not knowing if it was just too fiery. I wanted to make sure the fire was like a creative energy, not a destructive, angry energy.
Yeah, and I really think that kind of evolved too for the book too, because first it was just very raw text format, and then once we kind of formatted it differently with the way the book is now, with the circles kind of supporting every chapter, it seems like not only do you have like that image, but you've got these loving soul circles kind of introducing a topic as well. And so
right, and they bring an assistance with them too. That's the drawings all feel like they're just hanging around, ready to actually, like they're working when continuously, whether the person who's received one is actively meditating with them or not. They're there to do some of the work.
Yeah, it was just appropriate when those things just started coming together, and it was just like kind of tying everything in the book together. And so I was really pleased to see those come through. So you and I have kind of a nice, really easy relationship about how we work together. So it's so that was really whatever happened with my side or your side, it was like a very easy relationship just to allow that creative flow. And I was really happy to see the circles come back on top of the pages, and you reformatted everything too, and we put that together.
Nice. Yes, and without Scott, it would still just be a file on my computer. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, and it is a file on other people's computers now, hopefully. So somewhere in that space. So we've gotten close to 50 right now that have read this after a week or have downloaded it. So so maybe like around 60 people have read this probably fully, maybe more if they passed it on. So yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about what we think is next, or do you want to save that?
I think I want to save it for now.
Okay.
I feel like it's working on me pretty strongly, and it has a little more work to do before I talk about it.
Good.
Yeah.
So
but just something that you mentioned earlier, that 5% of people don't ever actually read through their personal development books all the way through. And I have wondered about why personal development books are long. They've always felt really repetitive to me in a way. Why are they not just right to the point so that we can implement whatever is in them? Why force us to go through these tomes and then forget what we read in the beginning? And so I was so happy that this book is so short, at 53 pages or something like that. We can just absorb it and then implement. The whole point is implementing. That's what's really makes it interesting to me.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just part of this whole we've talked a little bit about this whole transactional nature of publishing and consuming, and to get a book in print, you need to have at least 100 pages, or I need to write another chapter. When yeah, really, it feels very complete to me at like 53 pages. So it doesn't have to be like this. Yeah, what if books were easy? That's a great question. What if self-development books were just easy?
Right.
And we didn't have to worry, and we didn't have to it was easily digestible and 50 pages, and I'm like, oh, they got it all to the point, and so now I have it. So.
Right. And paradoxically, it's not easy. The concepts in these books are not, if you really do implement them.
Yeah.
But they don't have to be difficult, but because of how we're sort of programmed, we make it all difficult, really is probably more accurate.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me? Like anything that you want to ask that maybe other people would ask me, or?
Well, just reading the chapters as they came about, was it like, did you have an idea of where it was going to go, and then it turned into something completely different?
I really didn't have an idea of where it was going to go. And so I think it was really where it really turned for me was when you finally when you started talking about the unconscious underbelly. That
Mm.
chapter was like, for some reason, it was, for me, I felt everything was like really working really well, and it was nice. And then it was just like something, it hit so wonderfully, this unconscious underbelly, and then the world after. So I was really, that was what really struck me. And like, it was really a little harder hitting. And I really thought this is where the value, not that the other parts weren't valuable, but I thought, wow, this is like the real crux. And so that was like, I think that's what was most fascinating for me, is how that knowing that this was channeled, knowing that, you know, I was almost like, I got my, like, 21st century mind thinking, where's this going to go and where's the plot headed? But it twisted in different places. And, um, but the underbelly portion for me, like, was out of the blue, out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, this
Mm.
is really it.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
um, and then the world after and things like that, and how, but that was like really what hit. And then of course there was a portion in there about like, should Scott take over the channeling or whatever. And I have a little writing that was not included in this book, and maybe like later on I'll share that writing that I
Mm.
wrote. Um, but yeah, it was, and it didn't quite fit. So I'm glad that didn't make it in. But but yeah, it was. But I could really tell, like, by that time, I could really tell the whole purity of the whole channeling, the whole, this is really something special. That was what hit me. It was always special,
And
but
is that what made you motivated to just put it all together as far as making sure it got out there as an ebook and doing the tech work and the website and everything that goes along with that?
oh yeah, most definitely. Like by that chapter, like I could actually feel that, yeah, this is going to be a little bigger than, but because you were writing things so quickly, by that chapter, I thought, okay, this is unfolding for me too. And so the website, the promotion, the marketing, the ebook, um, and even as things still unfold, I know that it's going to be in print someday, and I know that we'll get that out. So, but that was kind of the crush. Once that whole we moved from what service is not into like this unconscious underbelly and talking about the black hole of consumption. That was when I was like, okay, this is a message that's not just going to live here.
Mm.
It's getting legs, and it'll compel us to move it no matter what we do.
And I feel like at this point, I should encourage anybody who's watching this to, if you're inspired to add any avenues for this book to go places, contact us. If it's moved you in some way and made you understand things differently, and you have a resource that you, or a skill that you want to contribute, yeah, contact us.
Yeah, yeah, and just other things would come to me too. But yeah, totally contact us. But like, other things came to me too during that last few times too, about when we decided to release it and what I was interested in just personally at the same time started to coincide with the book, and
Mm-hmm.
how we released it on the same day of Kierkegaard's, Soren Kierkegaard's major existential philosopher's death. Um, while I was like absorbed in Kierkegaard for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
those little things, and the book cover, how it came about, and
Oh, I should tell whoever's watching the video, the I had transcribed the whole book, and I was just we both had read it and we knew about it, and we didn't know exactly what we were going to do. And I went to Santa Fe and went to a gallery and met a person, and in the midst of our conversation, without mentioning the book or anything other than the circles, he just looked at me and said, "You're a medium." And so it was like that moment I knew, okay, I'm going to have to start using that word. This book is going to go somewhere other than just between Scott and me.
And at the same time, it's still affecting both of us. So, and I think that's a really cool thing. And my hope is that as this still affects both of us, that we can you become a clearer channel for love and truth, and that I can become more of a servant for love and truth. Just this whole way that it happens, because it still works on me. The more I read it, the more the book works on me, and I can apply those things in my life, and also the way we work together.
Yeah, that's been just fabulous. Just your willingness and your devotion to just making things come about and serving your own creativity as well as mine and what we do together. And it's so easy. It's wonderful.
Yeah. We joked a lot in the past about things that we thought were outrageous, that try putting that into a business plan, but now it's kind of like, that's kind of like an old joke now.
Right.
The whole, I know who you are. There's no hurry. I don't need anything from you. I don't expect anything. You don't have to do anything for me, and I love you, as a business plan.
Right.
So it's
try that on. We did,
and it works.
It does.
So there isn't a conflict, and so usually when one of us has an idea, it's like, yes, it's like, let's do it. And and we almost like know that when there's the next thing is happening, we know that it's already happened. Really, there's no argument, there's no real resistance, because we don't have to rush, we don't have to hurry. At the same time, we just are servants for this love and truth energy, which I think is it's a much easier way to go about these things. You're not tied up in career and life change, or for me anyway, I'm not so wrapped up in what do I call myself, what's my title, what's my position, what do I get out of it.
Right. Well, just there's no hurry, except it's all been happening very, very quickly. It's like there's plenty of time to rest, but it's all happening. And from one day to the next, it's new, really. So like every time you open the book, it's new. Every day we wake up and there's something new to create. But there's no hurry.
Yeah. I like that. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Any more parting thoughts or questions, or?
No, we just are very grateful for everybody who's downloaded and who's decided to absorb the book and take part in the love economy.
Yeah. So, so stay tuned. We might have some more things in the future. We'll probably talk more in the future and get in touch in the future. But yeah, so it's easy, www.whatitmeanstoserve.com. So share it widely. It's free. And, we're just servants for love and truth. So hope you like it.
Nice. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Rita.